Hey there! Welcome to Module 2. In this video, we're going to talk about how to find your enemy. And the reason that you want to do that is kind of all the same reasons that I talked about why you want to find your mission. This is all just kind of companion material to that. But what I believe that thinking about your enemy helps you do is to clarify your focus and your motivation, and it just adds like the yin to the yang. It's like the other half of that knowing your why and knowing what you want to do and what you're passionate about. It helps to also know what you're fighting against. So it's kind of this idea of like module 1 is like what you're fighting for, and module 2 is what you're fighting against. And so often your enemy is going to be the opposite of your passion. And I didn't share yet about my mission, so I'll share that when I talk about my enemy. But what I want to do first is I want to kind of set up this conversation by talking to you about a balance in your mindset. So I want to talk about ego and fear. And if you want more about ego, you can read Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. It's really good. But all you need right now is just the kind of framework that I'm just going to draw a picture for you here. Okay, so I believe in our culture, and for most of us, for you and I, that we are dealing with, you see my hand? Yeah, with a lot of fear. And we're dealing with the fact that we have a brain that is created to help us survive from tigers and lions, but we don't, generally have threats to our daily survival in that sense on a daily basis. But then I believe as moms, there is kind of a little bit of that, of like the mama bear watching the cubs, because especially if you've got young kids or you have boys, with girls too, there are all kinds of dangers. So you've always got that mom brain that's kind of thinking about danger for the family and fear there. But I want to talk specifically about in marketing, about the fears that we have that keep us from putting ourselves out there and from sharing our message when we have this incredible online opportunity and we have all these tools that can let us get our message out there and grow our business if we will just give ourselves permission to do that. Okay. So we've got fear that I talked in the last video some about fear and love, and I'm going to get into that. But basically, I want us to think about fear. I want you to think about fear as a place that you shouldn't be. You don't want to be here. You want to combat it with faith and mindset. And yeah, I'll add some bonus videos about that because I was just recording some about how to deal with fear about recording a Facebook Live. I'm gonna put that video as a bonus because I just did one about how to crowd the fear out of your mind by building your positive thoughts about what you're excited that you are going to accomplish, and building faith that practical ways to build your faith and believe that you're going to know what to say in the moment, that you're going to get in the flow, that you're going to get that divine inspiration that combines with the gift that you have. And so just practical exercises for getting rid of fear. Okay, so that'll be in a bonus. But I'm going to talk about how, let's look at how fear is not where you want to be. So you want to do these different things to kind of move away from fear. And then over here you've got ego, which we can make it simple and kind of think of that as pride or arrogance. So when you get on this journey of mindset and you start to deal with fear and encourage yourself and believe in yourself, and you'll start to do things that you didn't know that you could do, and you'll get successful, and you'll have some of that beginner's luck or the early success where sometimes, do you ever like make a recipe and it turns out perfect and you're like, I did it, and then you do it again and it doesn't, and then you realize that it was like beginner's luck because you didn't know why you were successful. So anyways, as you learn to manage your thoughts and to deal with your fear and to grow your faith, you'll become successful and you'll move away from fear. But then what's so easy to happen? You have your first success and it's so easy to become proud and feel like, oh, I have arrived. Look what I've done. And do you want to know where you want to live life? The place where you want to live life, the place where you need to live and exist and live your daily life is in the middle. In order to and so now I'm going to get into how to stay in the middle and how to focus on things that are in the middle. And the two keys that I want to talk about there are service, and so you're thinking about love instead of fear. So that helps pull you to the middle. You're thinking about love and how to serve. That's a good way to think about it. Okay, instead of fear, you're thinking about love because you're serving others and you're thinking about how they, who needs me to show up on my A game today in my business? Okay, I'm going to show up because this is not about me, this is about them. I'm going to love them and I'm going to do the work. Okay, so instead of fear, love is going to help bring you to the middle. But then instead of pride and ego, you want to focus on creativity and work and service and doing what needs to be done and just being like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do in the work, I'm going to, focus on doing the work instead of sitting down and congratulating yourself or whatever. I love the way Ryan Holiday puts it in his book. He kind of talks about like, there's no place for boasting. You're too busy doing the work. You're at work. You're on a mission. You're doing a thing. And so that's where the mission comes in and the enemy. So in this video, I want to talk about the enemy and how you don't want to be in fear and you don't want to be in ego. You want to be in love and service and cultivate that mindset and cultivate habits in your life where you are consistently doing activities like writing posts or working one-on-one with clients or going live on Facebook for your community. You're doing things out of service to help other people in whatever way it is that you have the skills or the gifts and that you've focused your business on helping them on whatever that topic is. Now, so a really fun way to kind of nuance that idea of mission and to think about what you're focusing on doing. If it's not this or this and you're focusing instead in the middle, how do you focus in the middle and push yourself into that place instead of drifting, is this idea that I learned from Bo Eason of having an enemy. And he talks about how his enemy is mediocrity. And I heard him live, and then I heard him do several videos, and then I heard him say that, and I was like, oh, excuse me, that's one reason that I love him, because one of my values is excellence, and he just exhibits excellence in the way that he exists and just lives and breathes as a person. Like everything that he did, you could see it in him, and that's your goal for your values. And that's why I had you start to journal in the last video about your values. You want to write those down and know what those are and potentially put them on the wall because you want to challenge yourself every day to live them. If you do sales calls with clients, you want to use language that talks about them, that shows that those things are important to you so that the right people will say yes because those things will resonate with them too. And then you will be working with people as clients or in your community, like everything. And this, we'll tie this all into messaging, but you want to work with people who have the same values as you. Okay, so the enemy, I've heard different people say fun things. I'll go ahead and share, his was mediocrity, which I love, and it got me thinking, oh, what is mine? And I didn't know what is mine until just recently, but I was able to find it pretty quickly because I knew what my common themes, what kind of my mission and my why was. So I'm going to explain for you real quick my mission, okay, and my common themes. So I'm going to kind of give you my summary from the exercise that I had you do last time. And I'm glad I didn't say it in the last video because that gave you a chance to kind of think about yours. But when I did that exercise, mentally and with friends and then writing it down, for me, growth was a common theme, which when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. And I loved school because I loved learning. And every time I learned something, there's some part of my brain that goes into this weird, like, meta kind of place where, like, I learn something, and as I'm learning it, I'm thinking about how to teach it, which I've always thought was weird, but now I'm realizing maybe it's a gift, and I believe God's going to use that in my business. But the point is the growth. And so, and then it came down to, like, when I recently quit my job, there were so many people who told me, like, you have a good thing, like, you should be happy. Like, there were lots of, basically everybody, actually everybody, literally everybody. Like, my husband was supportive because he loves me and he could see that I was serious and this is what I needed, But everybody looked at the external, at the situation, and said, you get to work mostly from home, you get paid well, you enjoy what you do. What do? You like that, right? Do you know why I literally got to the point where I had to leave? Like, I'm realizing how true this is as I'm telling you this. So this is a special moment, and this is a good example of getting in the flow. I'll put a video in the bonus section about getting in the flow and, really being able to serve your audience. And like right now, I'm showing up, I'm giving you the content, I'm doing the thing, I know what I want to tell you, I'm working from an outline, but then I'm also believing that out of me is going to come inspiration, further inspiration than I even know right now, both for myself and for you. And so that's part of how you do this. I want to encourage you, when you go and do your own courses and do lives, show up and do the work from a heart of service, and believe that you are going to write things that you can't believe that you wrote, and say things that you didn't even know until you said them. If people have ever told you you're a verbal processor, then that's just a hint of greatness and creativity that's wanting to come out of you if you can focus it. And there'll be a module on structure where we'll talk about kind of how to create the structure to make room for that to show up in your life, to find time to be in the flow, to do that. Anyways, so back to mine. Mine was growth, and what was I just saying? Anyways, mine was growth. I realized that, and oh yeah, I was talking about quitting my job because it was growth. The reason that I had to quit my job was because I could no longer grow there. And I felt at the very end, once I got the ball in motion and I really got hope, you're going to hear me say words that are like all the titles of these different modules because they all tie together, but I started to feel hope, and my faith started to grow that I was able to make this transition. And I kind of had known for a little while what I needed. I knew that I needed to quit my job. And once the right finances came into place, just enough for me to just take that step, to just quit my job, and I had enough of a business plan and enough of knowing what the options were, that I was like, I'm going to take the leap and do this. Once I knew that that was happening, everything inside me came dormant, and it was like I just felt like I was going to die if I did not make this switch. And in the natural, it just seemed like, well, yeah, what if it's this month? What if it's next month? What if it's not till next year? But literally, like, my core value for myself, my core mission was being violated. I could not grow. And the main reason that I moved into starting my own business is because I needed to be able to grow again, and my real passion for growth for me is to help others to grow. So growth, and then kind of a secondary one is hope. And when I started, real quick nutshell, I just want to share that when I started looking at the pieces of my life and trying to figure out and say, like, okay, God, okay, I believe that there is a reason for all of this. I believe that there's a reason that I got a master's in biblical literature and then got basic coach certification, but then totally hopped on my husband's career because it paid, money, and learned this like other skill set with web and marketing. And I have this like love-hate relationship with marketing, or at least I did for a while, where I was just like, I wasn't proud to be in marketing, but I knew that it was powerful. But I kind of had to go through my own journey. Everything that I'm going to teach you in this, I went through this journey and then got to the place where I could believe and be prepared to kind of reconcile and then find my unique way to pull together this idea of like coaching and marketing and mindset, and just how marketing is powerful. And okay, so the point is that I was like, okay, marketing is a tool, but I'm not excited about marketing unless it helps me with my mission. And so with growth, I kind of had to go deeper with that and figure out who am I really passionate about. Well, I'm passionate about women and moms because, as you know, it's just natural. Like, you always hear the stories about the people who went through something and they come out successful. What do? They create an organization, or they start a charity, or they start, whatever it is that they start something so often to tackle that specific issue to help people with that thing, whatever it is that they walked through in their life. And so I should have added that. Add that as a note to the mission part. There will be things that are always in you, and that will be just to the exercise that you did last time. Just add some notes about your life experience and who it is that you're passionate about helping because of what you've lived through and what you've seen in your life. Like, I believe that God uses everything that has happened in our life, and that I believe that if you're here and you're watching this, you are in the right place. This is your time. This is your time to do these exercises, to look back at your life and to choose to say, I have everything, that you have everything that you need. You need to say, I have everything I need. I can look back at my life. I can figure out why I want to go forward and do whatever it is that I want to do and who I want to help. And if you've spent significant chunks of your life, I've still got parts of my life that don't totally make sense, but the more different pieces come into the place, the more I believe that everything that has happened has come to me for a reason. Someone said something so encouraging to me the other day. They said she was encouraging me to believe that some of the skill sets that I've regretted not getting in the past, that I didn't need to, and I was going to find other people who had that. Like, sometimes I wish I had a business, had studied business in school, and I'm like, why did I study something else? Why did I study business? That would have been more practical. Well, all I need to find is someone who's business savvy, right? Like, I don't have to be everything. And so I want to encourage you, I want to restate what I said in the last video. Don't let the guilt creep in. Don't let the frustration. This is not, when you reflect on the past, this is not about wishing you had done something different or what you hadn't done. And I don't want you to dwell on whatever, painful or bad things maybe happened to you. I want you to look like it's a treasure hunt and like you're gathering the pieces of everything that has happened in your life, and just look at it like your toolkit and say, I'm going to do something exciting with this and I'm going to help a lot of people. That's what I wanted you to tell yourself. Okay. So anyways, to finish up my thing, I realized that I was really passionate about helping people like the moms in my MOPS group, and that what I could do is that I could go and I could find the people who, like the therapists that came and spoke about postpartum depression at my MOPS group, and the life coaches and the business coaches, and I've met so many amazing women who are very educated and very smart and very skilled and know what they do, and I'm so excited to learn from them about physical health or mental health or emotional health, whatever it is that they do. I've met so many of you. You have amazing stories, and I love what you do, and I want you to create a course about it so that I can take it and I can learn that thing, and so that I can be healed in that way, and so that I can know more about healing other women in that way. So I am passionate about helping you heal people the way that you heal, and I had a breakthrough in my life when I realized that I could help you with your marketing, and that was my mission. And it's all about growth. And for me, I realized that with growth, after the journey that I've been through as a mom in the last 10 years, you kind of need to get to a certain place of health in order to grow. So I'm passionate about helping moms get healthy and women get healthy so that then they can get to that place of wholeness where, like, I believe health is a process of growth, but there's also just a new level and a new kind of growth that you can do once you get to that place of kind of wholeness and health, and you can grow and serve and lead and just on a whole nother level. So those go together for me. I hope that's exciting for you. Oh, I have to share my enemies. Okay, so for my enemy, I just took, that was explaining the mission. My mission, my keywords right now, it's good to like pick some keywords and then do some journaling and kind of tease out. And if you find some sentences that are helpful, like write them out and put them on the wall and read them every day. And then if something starts to, like, you find something to add or something's not quite right, just have it be a living draft that you're constantly thinking about and working on. And whatever it is currently, when you have a decision or you have something or you're stuck, go back to that and say, is this still my why? How does this mission, how does my vision, for the big picture, inform, this thing that I'm stuck on or that I'm worried about or that's coming up, whether it's a decision or a fear or whatever it is that comes up. the mission is meant to be a filter for that. So keywords are helpful. So I want you to have a whole sentence that you like write on your wall, that you write down in your journal, or that you read every day. But for this, it can be helpful to distill it down to kind of a couple keywords. So right now for this, I'm using growth and hope. And so when I started, I think I was thinking about enemies as I found the sets of words. But so me, growth and hope. And then what are the opposites of those? Despair is like the opposite of hope, right? Stagnation, inaction. As I started trying to figure out just what I wanted to help people do, I kind of came across the word activate and this idea of action. And like, I want to help people get into action. And so stagnation is inaction. And so, all right, I want to pull this all back around and finish this picture and summarize, and then I want you to go and think about this. I want to challenge you to find, 30 minutes once a day for the next few days to make sure you do all these, the journaling exercises from yesterday, and then I want you to think through what your enemy is, journal about. Okay, so back to the big picture. Fear, maybe write down a list of fear. If fear is a thing for you, if you feel like you want to drill into that, write down a list of some fears and then ask yourself how you can bring love into that situation and change it. And so often if you're afraid of what people will think if you do something, think about loving them by doing that thing, right? So just try to like flip it around from fear to love. How can you make that switch? And if that really resonates with you, I mention a lot of books, and I don't expect you to read many of them. Some of you won't read any, which is fine. But for some, I'll tell you, hey, this is a really approachable, easy to read, practical book. May Cause Miracles by Gabrielle Bernstein is one that is that. And if you are wrestling with fear and wanting to explore how to like change it to love in your daily, if that resonates with you, check out that book. Okay, so you've got fear and then ego. Ego is tricky, pride is tricky, and I don't even want to go into that too far because I believe, and I know like there's scientific research, like it's statistically true that women struggle more with confidence than men. They say that women will actually be more competent, more capable than they are confident, and men will actually be more confident than they are capable. So if you're typical, you probably need to focus more on not being afraid and believing that all of this is possible. And if you need to give yourself permission to be amazing, that module is coming, and it's my favorite because it's so closely tied to growth. But basically, journal about any of this that you need to journal about. I want to bring it back to the main point, which is that you've got fear and you've got ego, and that we need to live in the space in between those, and you need the mental awareness, and you need the daily routines where you're writing down your thoughts and you're aware of how you're thinking and you're feeling, so that you catch yourself when you start to be afraid or when you start to be proud and too much into what you're accomplishing. And if you get too far into that, it just puts you in not the right mindset to serve. So what you want to do is you want to be in the middle. You want to be passionate about your mission and moving forward toward it out of love and service, and you want to fight that enemy. So final thought here, I just want to say something that I think is really fun, that like part of my goal in all of this is to give you permission to wake up and to own your own adventure and to see your business as an adventure that matters. So it matters because you care about your mission, and it matters because you hate your enemy. So I hate despair, I hate inaction, I hate stagnation, and I'm passionate about growth and hope and faith and love. So, and I think fundamentally for many of us, like that will be true, but then I want you to dial in to like which are the words, like write out all the synonyms, look up, synonyms for some of those words I just said, and figure out which ones resonate with you. You need something to fight for and something to fight against. The enemy is, well, Bo Eason put it really, really fun. He was talking about how the enemy needs to be big. It needs to be something that you will fight your whole life. It needs to be something powerful. For his, he was like mediocrity. Like, what does mediocrity have? It has the media, it has money, it has whatever. He's like, I'll probably fight it till the day I die. For me, like despair. For you, if as somebody who is passionate about women's health, um, you know, despair is going to be something that you're fighting. And think about it being big. Like, don't go to that, like, oh, I can never fight it all. No, that doesn't matter. That's not the point. This enemy needs to be big and bad because that challenges you to go bigger and to grow and to level up and to bring everything that you are every day and to continue to grow into your best self and become more and more and to build your business to make the biggest impact that you can against that enemy. That's what that's because that right, like, just I want to combat that. I think it can be typical of like feminine, or at least the way femininity has ended up looking in our culture. I don't think it's really who we are at heart, but I think so often we shrink away from conflict or the big bad thing, or we're so easy to go into despair and say, what's the point if I can't defeat the big thing? No. Like in Lord of the Rings, it's an amazing story because the enemy is just humongous and the mission just seems impossible. So the best stories are the ones that have the biggest challenges. And this makes me think of, I'm going to talk about the book later, but goals. If you don't set big enough goals, you're, I don't want to, I won't get into that right now. But similar thing with goals, if you set small goals, you're not as motivated. You're not going to do as much. You're not going to show up. Like, I started to set a goal for my business, and I was just like, yeah, that'd be cool. So I guess I'm going to do some stuff every day. And then I was like, wow, I get what he's talking about in this book. Like, I was, kind of reading and exploring these ideas, and I was like, oh, okay. So I made a bigger goal, and then I made a bigger goal. And then I had a really big, crazy goal, like she was talking about, and I was like, wow. And you make a big goal, and then you start to picture it and visualize it and believe that it's possible, and then you get excited, and your brain starts thinking about how to accomplish that. Okay, so that's a mindset. So I want to take it back to the enemy. When you have a big, hairy, scary enemy, that is when you think about collaborating. That's when you show up every day. That's when you get excited to get out of bed, and when you look at other people who have the same enemy, even if they're your competitor, and they do what you do and they serve the same people, you have the abundance mindset and you have the collaboration approach, and then you see yourself fighting that enemy together, and that's what really helps you get you. I believe the enemy, even just, I want to challenge you to think about these two things together. The mission and the enemy, when you combine those together, is just so powerful, because mission is inspirational and it's creative, and I think the mission is especially helpful for when we're thinking about our message and making decisions and our life and stuff. But I think when it comes to just finding that emotional strength in us to combat our daily enemies, right? I like how that comes back together. When we're combining our own daily tendency for inaction, or to stay in bed, or to not go live on Facebook today, or to put off something, when we're fighting that emotionally, I think there's so much power in us thinking in terms of that big enemy, whether it's mediocrity or despair or inaction, the lack of fulfilling potential, whatever it is that you believe that the world should be. I want to live in a world where, right, there you go, journal prompt. I want you to write that down. Okay, piece of paper, one of your journal exercises, I want to live in a world where, and then write like 10 things. And think big, challenge yourself to kind of think like, this is what I would really like to see in the world. Like what resonates with you? What do you want to change in the world? What do you want your impact to be? Think in terms of your whole life and just what bothers you about the world, what you want to make different. And that kind of exercise can help. Okay, so really I'm going to wrap this up. I think I've talked enough around this that you get the idea. But my final point was that the mission is helpful and you need all of that, and that helps you in a certain way, more mentally, I think. I think the enemy, well, there you go. I think the enemy helps you more emotionally because there's just that helps you to get out of yourself and to get into the mission and to be like, I'm going to fight this. And you fight it in yourself, and I think the most powerful thing that helps you stay out of fear. Okay, I'm going to end on this thought. This is what will keep you or help pull you and then keep you out of fear and out of your ego is when you are fighting your enemy on behalf of other people. When they've got despair, when they're in mediocrity, when they're living a life of whatever it is, insert your enemy, whatever that is, when they're living that, how can you show up for them today in your business to change their life? That's what this is about. Do your exercises. Take time to think about this. I want to challenge you to spend less time taking in information and reading books and watching stuff. And even if you've bought courses and you haven't finished all the videos, my challenge to you is to take a break and to carve out time that you can find that's quiet, where you can focus and you can think, make a cup of tea, find your favorite chair, give yourself the gift of finding your own voice, which starts with listening to your thoughts, listening to yourself, thinking through these things, and giving yourself the gift of a mission and an enemy that will call you up to the bigger, better, awesomest version of you, right? That's where we're going with this, because who you are going to become in this process is somebody who is going to effortlessly produce amazing, inspiring content and get your message out in your business in a way that is going to take you to the next level and that is going to make you money, but it's also going to be fulfilling for you. And you're going to find alignment in your life, and it's just going to be a positive spiral for all those things. This is not just about making money. This is about hope for you. This is about growth for you, because that's what I do. And about all of this coming together in a powerful way for your life. So I want to say one final thing, and I just want to commend you for being here, for sticking with me, for listening, for doing the mental work, for taking the emotional journey with me. And I just want to thank you for showing up and being here. And I'm really proud of you. And yeah, so do this for yourself. Go find some time. And after, make sure you take some time to think through this, but even if it's like 20 minutes, that's fine. Then you can go into the next video. If you're into this, that's fine, go for it. Just take some time to journal some thoughts. And then if you want to schedule time, because you need to this needs to be an ongoing thing. So if you want to write down some notes from this and then go into the next video, that's okay. Just make sure you're engaging in the process and you're not don't just treat this like a course where you just intake a lot of information and just think, oh, that was all interesting. I want you to engage emotionally and take time to explore your own thoughts with this. Okay, all right. See you in the next video.